Okay, today we're going to talk about your attitude and purpose in a martial arts school or training in a martial arts school. Now, I tend to think that your attitude is pretty much everything. It's one of the largest things. Your attitude will determine how hard you work, it'll determine the school you pick at, the training partners you have. Your attitude will determine how far you go in your martial art and how much skill you attain often. So the first thing you have to realize is that different people train for different reasons. Some people train strictly for self-defense. They want to learn real-world self-defense to protect themselves. And some people train just for a hobby. They're looking for something to do, an activity, so they join a martial arts school just for something to do. And some people train for fitness. They want to get in better shape and they're looking for something to do, so they just stop by the martial arts school and start taking it up. One of the lesser known reasons people train is people train just to have a social interaction and friendships. So they will just, they like to go to the martial arts school. They like to talk to everybody, see everybody, interact with different people, and, get outside of the house and do that. Now, your purpose has a lot to do with your attitude. So I guess how I would say it is that your attitude and your purpose have to match up. So, for example, I used to have a lot of seminars at my schools. I would bring instructors out, some of my instructors and other people, to do seminars at my school. And I would have them for a couple days usually or whatever, and we would get together. And one of my instructors, when we went out for lunch, he was telling me a story about when he was younger and he was training and he had a partner. Well, my instructor was in it for self-defense. He lived in a rough neighborhood and wanted to learn real self-defense because he needed it. He needed it to survive. And he was talking about a training partner he had who was just wanting to talk and kind of goof around and didn't train hard and just kind of, held the pads real lightly and didn't, things like that. So my instructor at the time told him, he said, you're wasting my time. And he went and got another training partner. He just left the drill right then and got with someone else. And well, maybe you could see that as kind of harsh. I thought about it and I go, well, he's really right. That didn't match his purpose. His purpose was to learn real self-defense that would protect him. And that was taking him away from that. If your training partner or your school or your instructor aren't helping you, then they're hurting you. They're not taking you closer to what you need. And it's your responsibility to get what you need. So, while that may have been harsh, it was pretty accurate and spot on. That person was taking him away. So, he was wasting his time. And so you have to think about what you want, your purpose, and why you train. And make sure that everything that you're doing, your attitude matches up with that. So if you want real self-defense, you shouldn't be sitting around talking. You shouldn't be doing your drills lightly. You shouldn't expect compliant training. You shouldn't train with people who hardly, give you any resistance. If you're training for fitness, and you need to move, you need to be at a place and do things where you're doing a lot of activity and you're, following a good diet while you're not at the school training. You need to do that. If you're looking for a social interaction, I don't know that a martial arts school is the best place for that. But if that's your thing, I guess, train at a school where there's a lot of activities and social things and whatever. So think about that. Think about your purpose and think about why you want to train and let your attitude be, in line with that, I suppose. So just be honest with yourself, have a good attitude. And I heard it recently that the proper attitude to have is to smile and sweat. So you're smiling. That means you're friendly, but that doesn't mean you're sitting around talking and wasting your time and other people's time. One of the common things people do is an instructor will show a technique and the students will drill it once or twice or 3 times and then they just sit around and talk. I'll tell you, as an instructor, I know that's not helping my students. And it's not helping anything really. It's just helping your social interaction, which you can get anywhere else. So if you want to learn a martial art, you should be spending your whole time in there smiling and sweating. So smiling, be friendly, but work. Don't just sit around, and don't waste time. You need to be training your technique until you can do it on anybody at any time. That's the only time your techniques are any good. And you need to be sweating, which means work, right? You should be in your martial arts school and you should be sweating the whole time because you're working hard. So smile and sweat, and keep the talking to a minimum unless it's talking that's helping you understand the philosophy of your training in a deeper way so that it will help your techniques. All right, guys, I hope you found that helpful, and I hope that it can guide your training. Like, share, and subscribe, and thanks again.